So I had one pot that was just lying around, and as you all know by now, I am a big fan of earthen pots that look very rustic, that do not have a very good finish. And you can see it's a very old pot. I probably had picked it up from a flea market. So the moment I seen this pot in the flea market, it had another plant. I took out the plant, and it already has a drain hole, so I don't have to be worried. This is the drain hole. It has a very big large drain hole which I'll have to cover it up with something, and we are going to find a solution to that. So the drain hole is already present. The pot is earthen pot. It has a very rustic old antique, I would say, kind of a look. Looks like it has been around for like centuries, but it's not in a very proper shape. It's very imperfect, and that's what I love about this pot. And so I'm going to be using this pot for planting some of these succulents. Now the succulents that I'm going to be collecting are from the rain gutter, because some of the succulents are getting very compact and they are very blue in color, which is going to go very well with this brown earthen pot. So I thought I'm going to try that. Probably I'll add a little bit of decor as well, so we will start with that. Now first, as you can see, the depth is I'll have to check the depth. It's not too much for the type of succulents that I'm going to be adding in this. Just a scale to check. So it's exactly 5 inches, or I would say let's take it approximately 13 centimeters in depth. 13 centimeters is not bad for a large size succulent, but what we'll do is probably we will add a little bit of leca and reduce the depth a little bit more, so that we can come up to 10 centimeter. I think that is going to work out really well. So let's get the leca. So we have our leca over here. Now as I said, leca comes in different sizes. I'm not very sure what size is this. I had purchased it long back and it was just lying around, so we are going to use this leca. So I'll start adding a little bit at the bottom, because we don't want to, as I said, this is only 5 inches, or I would say roughly around 13 inches in depth, so we do not want to reduce the depth a lot. So every time I'm going to be adding, I will keep checking it, how much it is going to reduce. As you can see now, it's getting a little bit more less in depth, so I'll add few more. And let's check once again. Okay, I think this is good enough. As you can see, the depth has reduced a lot. 9 centimeters is going to be perfect. So this is all we have used. I think I'm going to take out a little bit more of them. So I think this is good enough. The depth has reduced now. It's around 10 centimeters. I've taken out a little bit more of the leca, so I've made it around 10 centimeters in depth. And our drain hole is also completely covered with leca. So this is where the drain hole is. So it's completely covered with leca. So now it's time to fill in the soil. I will also select the succulents, and I'm going to show you what succulents I'm going to be adding in this. So we are back at the rain gutter. So these are the 3 succulents that I'm planning to add in the new pot. Because I like the arrangement. Now, unfortunately, one of my Mrs. Richards has got damaged, probably when I was taking out the plastic. A few of the leaves happened to break, and then probably there was some moisture, and hence it's not doing quite well. But nevertheless, I really love this arrangement. I like the way all 3 of them are growing together. So let me first take out the HO area. So you can see very compact. And now let's go on to the patchophytum. Now guys, I'm so sorry, because I'm holding my iPad in one hand and I'm trying to dig out the succulent. It is very difficult. Unfortunately, my phone ran out of battery and it's going to take a couple of hours for it to charge. And because it's winters, it's going to get dark very soon, and I do not want to postpone this video for the next day. So I'm trying my best. So please bear with me. So I think the pachyphytum is loosened from the soil, and I have to be extremely careful because I do not want to break any of the leaves, which is very difficult usually when it's in a very compact cluster like this. A lot of times the leaves tend to break. So we have separated the pachyphytum without breaking any leaves, thank God. And now moving on to our Echeveria elegans. Again, I have to be extremely careful because the leaves are very fragile. They can immediately break by putting in a lot of pressure, so I have to be really gentle. And it is little difficult without disturbing the other succulents, but I probably have broken some of the leaves of the other succulents, but nevertheless, so these are the succulents. Both of them are very healthy, and as you can see, it's always difficult to not break the leaves of other plants. So I'm going to keep these leaves as well aside. Probably they will propagate, I'm not very sure, but I'll just keep them aside. So now we have our succulents all ready. They are out of the soil, but I am not going to be taking out any of the soil. So this is the space that is left wherein we can plant some other succulents, because as I've said, for a gardener there is never a time wherein he's going to keep the space empty. So there will be something that is going to come up. I will definitely show you guys as well. I'm going to leave the smaller succulent back again in that same container, and you can see all of the dirt and dust on my other succulents, which I will take a succulent blower and clean off later. This is why I hate doing repotting, because it tends to mess up everything. But these are our succulents. They are all ready. I'm not going to clean the soil. I'm going to leave it as it is. Now coming to the soil mix, I'm using the same soil mix, which is 80% of aquarium sand and 20% of filtered garden soil. I have already filtered the garden soil. You can see now the mix looks very free, and this is all the fine dust that I was able to collect from the filtered soil mix, which is very important. Otherwise the soil mix can get very compact. You can see all of this fine dust is something that can make your soil mix compact, so it's very important to take it out. Now definitely I do not throw this. I tend to use it for my pot making. Whenever I tend to make concrete pots, I add this because this works as a very good aggregate for my concrete pots. It also gives a slight brown color to my pots, and it tends to make my pots look very earthen. So I'm going to use that. So I have done with the filtration. This is our leca, and I'm going to add a little bit of the soil initially. I'm not going to completely fill it up with the soil mix because we have to still place the succulents in it. So I will first cover up probably 1/4 of the leca, because the leca is already present in the pot. So I'm going to fill like 1/4 of the soil mix, the succulent soil mix that we have made. And then usually what I tend to do is I first try to place the succulent and see how it's going to look in the pot, because I do not want to put the succulent into the soil and then take it out if it is not fitting in properly. So this is what I usually tend to do. Even you can do this. Try to check where you want to place the succulent, how you want to place it, and once you are happy with the arrangement, then go ahead and add the soil. Don't add the succulent right away and then you'll have to take out the succulent out. That is again going to disturb the succulent. So I will get back to you. I will put the succulents into the soil and get back to you. As I said, it's very difficult to attach the iPad on the tripod. The tripod is only meant for the phone, and I'm not able to put the iPad. It's very difficult. It's very heavy. So please bear with me. I will just fill it up with soil. There is nothing major. All you have to do is just put the succulent into the soil. So I have planted the succulents in the pot. As I said, it's always better to plan how you want to make the arrangement and then add the soil. So I have done the same. And now it's time to add the soil. Now I've ensured that there is enough space for everyone to grow. I'm not putting in too many succulents. 3 succulents are more than enough in a small pot like this. And now I will top it up with some more of my succulent soil mix, which is the same soil mix. As I don't tend to use any top dressing because I do not prefer to use top dressing. So I have filled the pot completely with my succulent soil mix, which is 80% of aquarium sand and 20% of filtered garden soil. You might have seen how I filtered it. So now we'll just level up the soil mix, and as you can see at the back as well, I have put in the soil mix completely. I'm just leaving a half an inch from the edge so that whenever we water it, the soil does not flow out from the pot, and over the period of time the soil level will also decrease a little bit. and everything looks very perfect. All the succulents are properly planted. They are deep into the soil, and the only thing that is missing is a small piece of decor. So whenever I tend to make concrete pots, I'm always left with excess material. Now rather than throwing that material, I tend to make them into small pebbles which can be used as a decor to your succulent arrangement. Now one is more than enough. You do not need to overdo it and completely crowd the upper surface. We still want to give that good amount of air circulation, so one is more than enough. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this entire video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.